The year was 5 AH. The young city of Medina had endured the shock of Uhud, but a far greater storm was now forming across the deserts of Arabia. The Quraysh of Mecca, determined to eliminate the Muslim community once and for all, began forging alliances on an unprecedented scale. They reached out to powerful tribes, the Ghatafan, the exiled Banu Nadir, and many others, binding them together in a single massive coalition. This coalition became known as Al-Ahzab, the Confederates. Nearly 10,000 warriors gathered beneath their banners.
إذ جاءوكم من فوقكم ومن أسفل منكم وإذ زاغت الأبصار وبلغت القلوب الحناجر وتظنون بالله الظنونا.
In Arabia, 1,000 fighters was considered a formidable army. 10,000 was something closer to a storm of steel. Led by Abu Sufyan, the alliance represented the combined power of many tribes. Their goal was clear: to surround Medina and erase the Muslim community from the map of Arabia. News of their march spread rapidly across the desert, reaching Medina just days before the first banners appeared on the horizon. Inside Medina, tension filled the air. The city was naturally protected on three sides by rugged volcanic rock and thick palm groves. But the northern approach remained dangerously open. During the Shura, the consultative council, a companion from distant lands spoke with a remarkable idea. Salman al-Farisi, who had traveled from Persia in search of truth, suggested a defensive strategy unfamiliar to the Arabs: a trench. The task was enormous. They had less than a week. Men worked day and night, carving a massive trench into the rocky desert soil. The Prophet himself joined the labor, carrying stones and digging beside his companions. The workers recited poetry as they toiled against the cold winds. The trench would stretch for kilometers, nearly 5 meters wide and deep enough to stop even the strongest warhorse. It was the city's final shield. Soon, the horizon darkened. 10,000 warriors approached Medina. But as the Meccan cavalry reached the northern plain, they stopped. Where they expected open ground for a charge, there was a chasm. The generals of the Quraysh stared in disbelief. The siege of Medina had begun. Days stretched into weeks. The siege tested the endurance of Medina's people. Food grew scarce. Some tied stones to their stomachs to dull the pain of hunger.
هنالك ابتلي المؤمنون وزلزلوا زلزالا شديدا.
At the same time, troubling news arrived. Rumors spread that the Banu Qurayza might break their treaty. Hearts reached the throats. Eventually, a small group of Meccan champions found a narrow crossing. Among them was Amr ibn Abd Wud, a warrior whose reputation echoed across Arabia. He challenged the Muslims to single combat. From the ranks stepped Ali ibn Abi Talib. In a brief clash, the Meccan champion fell. The breach collapsed. After nearly 27 days, the turning point arrived, not through battle, but through the desert itself. A fierce wind swept across the plain.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ جاءتكم جنود فأرسلنا عليهم ريحا وجنودا لم تروها وكان الله بما تعملون بصيرا.
It tore through the Confederate camp, toppling tents and extinguishing fires. In the chaos, suspicion spread. Fear replaced confidence. By morning, the great army was gone. The coalition had dissolved in the night. Abu Sufyan ordered a full retreat into the desert. The Prophet remarked that from that day forward, the Quraysh would no longer march against Medina. The initiative was now with the Muslims. The Battle of the Trench demonstrated the power of unity, strategy, and faith under pressure. The greatest coalition had failed. And for the first time, the road to Mecca no longer seemed impossible. But the next chapter would not begin with war. Instead, it would begin with a peace agreement that would reshape the future of Islam. Join us next time for the Treaty of Hudaybiyah.